It's bee moving day. I'm all excited. I've been waiting for this since late October. It's the 26th of March. It seems to be a bit late this year, but not as late as it could be, I think. A couple degrees below zero still. That'll kind of discourage the girls from coming out quite yet. We're heading up to a few degrees above zero today and even warmer tomorrow, so that's when we're going to be getting our cleansing flights. I just stopped in the garage here to check on my sugar cakes. My wife made these yesterday. At least the top row. That's not set at all. So that really needs a lot more time. So I need to not fuss. We'll leave those alone. We've got a lot of work to do in the bee barn. What I did earlier on is I turned the temperature down in the bee barn. I set my temperature at -5, so it's going full blast, cooling that barn as fast as it can. Get those bees cooled down, help them stay in the hives. We're gonna head out there. I'll take you along, and we'll get some work done. See my fan running full blast. Trying to cool that place down as fast as I can. I really should have started that yesterday, but I only started earlier today. It's gone down 2 or 3 degrees already, which is nice, but I don't know if that'll have enough of an effect on the bees, but it's not going to hurt. It can only help. I'm going to open up the barn here, and we've got a little bit of work to do before we can start moving bees out. Red lights on, and everybody's inside. I don't see any crawling around. So what I'm going to try and do here is I've got my little entrance reducer wedges. I'm going to stick those in thusly. We have a small entrance here. Well, that was about 4 hours of hauling bees around. The season has begun. I haven't put any of my foam board on yet. So tomorrow we come out, we have a look at them. We find out who's dead and who's not. Put some foam board on. It's muddy, of course. And lots of dead bees on the covers. There's lots of brown snow around. But the bees are out. The barn is clean. It is what it is. And we start from here for this season. 27th of March. Welcome to the apiary. Boy, it's a real crop show out here today. And it's going to get worse. We're just doing some assessments. See who made it, see who didn't. And we're adding the polystyrene boards that I talked about in earlier videos. There's quite a bit of flight here, so I'm encouraged as to what came out of the barn. But we really have to go through everything to determine what those numbers are. So that's all we're doing here today. And we have for numbers, colonies, I lost 22. So that's easy math, isn't it? That's 22%. That's still under the Manitoba average, which I believe is 24. It's pretty high for me, although 2 years ago I had extremely high loss. Typically my loss is 5 or less. Well, we put a patty of UltraBee on each hive. That's 1 pound. They were weak, we gave them half a pound. And I also have a feeder here with UltraBee dry. And they're taking to that today actually quite well. There's a lot of activity out here. And a lot of flights and a lot of poop. All that nice blue styrofoam I cut is baked with bee poop now. That was expected of. All in all, a great day. Had a friend come and help. We stayed at a very good distance apart all day. It was kind of weird, but we did anyway. Make sure everybody stays healthy. And thanks to my wife also for helping out today. She did a lot of the installation of the cut styrofoam covers, which is a big help. And she's behind the camera there too. 2nd of April today. This weather has turned on us, and this is going to get a lot worse if the forecast holds. Remember that video I did about my plan to insulate my hives? I'm sure glad I did that. The poor bees are out there and under the snow and in the cold. My apiary is protected from the wind a little bit. Yeah, this is not what you want to see. Couple days of this, couple days warm up. We'll be back in business early next week. But for now, it's frame building time, working in the shop time. Man, it's so bright out here. I have to go to the apiary, get a couple skids of stuff out there. It's been so muddy that I couldn't get out there. But now, it was minus 20 overnight. It's going to be frozen solid, which is great. Look at the snow. We'll get the little tractor going. I don't have to store bees in here. I get to store my tractor and other stuff. So we'll just beetle on out there. You notice I'm not wearing a jacket. It's not brutal cold. There's no wind, which is nice. But the real reason I'm not wearing a jacket is I left my jacket out at the apiary the other day. So it's out in my building there. So I'm hoping to grab my jacket while I'm out there. I'll get this thing going. Forgive me if you can't see me in the video or whatever. I can hardly see the screen. It's so bright out here. Hey, look, there's actually a few bees flying here. But they often just land in the snow, and that's the end of them. It looks like I've had some visitors here. There's tracks. I don't know if you can see that or not. Tracks, it might be... I don't know what that is. Not much of a tracker. Some might be rabbits or something around here. Something small though, it's on top of the snow. Anyway, I'm here to get my deadouts, the big piles here. So there's deadouts, there's deadouts here. There's one over this way. I'm going to grab those while it's still frozen here, although I was breaking through the water coming here, so it's still going to be a bit of a challenge. It was minus 20 Celsius last night. So I'm glad the hives are insulated. Of all the ridiculous things you'd think you'd ever do, snow blowing between the beehives in the apiary. The sun is very hot this time of year. I've never seen my apiary like this before. Kind of crazy. Oh well. This is everybody's favorite job. Cleaning deadouts. If it just isn't enough that you get kicked in the jimmies in the spring with dead colonies, and you gotta clean the mess up. There's two silver linings to this. One is drawn comb. You can always use drawn comb for your splits and your growing colonies. The other silver lining is feed frames. This isn't a very good feed frame, but there's some in here that are fantastic. So you get some feed frames for the hungries. You get some drawn comb for the new ones. Here's some of those green frames. You see those green frames I was making? Well, this is what it looks like after they draw it out. Got a little bit of feed in this one. So we've got larger drone cells here, worker cells in the middle where the foundation is, and then drone cells again on this side. So they're quite consistent with that. They'll make larger cells and they'll either brood up in there or they'll fill it with feed or honey. So that's kind of how that goes. There's another one in the hive here. This one's got a bunch of feed in it. So kind of universal the way they do that. You can see the foundation right here and the foundationless on the side. I'm going to run some of those in honey supers this summer. Maybe get a piece of comb honey out of that. So this will be a good feed frame for a hungry later on. Maybe a split that needs a drone frame or something. We'll decide. So anyway, we'll just keep going at this. It's not a very nice job, but it is what it is, right? It's part of beekeeping. We'll try again this year. Now, have you never used these Apivar strips before? It's always confusing how they sell them. They sell them by strips. There's 10 strips in this pack. Well, that's this. It's actually a double. There's 2 strips that you rip apart, and they're unnecessarily difficult to rip apart. Not only that, they have a little hole in the top that I put a toothpick in, because that works far better than trying to use the little tab that is on the strip to hold it up. Read the directions. I'm not going to tell you how to use it because you need to read the directions on use. The label is the law. Remember that. But that's all I have to say, because if you go to buy, they'll ask you if you want 10 strips. If you say yes, I want 10 strips, typically that's enough for 5 hives. So you gotta take one pair, tear it in 2. You don't want to get this stuff on your bare hands. I believe it's okay to use your normal gloves, but you need to make those choices for yourself. Your personal safety is your responsibility, not mine. I don't want you ever saying, but I told you to do this, or I told you to do that. I didn't tell you to do anything. You're not a child, and you're not my child. If you're my child, I might tell you what to do. I don't know why they don't just sell those as separate strips. It sure would be okay with me if they did. See, cluster is way over here. This stuff works on physical contact with the bees. You gotta put it kind of where the brood nest is. If you're watching this and you don't know what Apivar is, I haven't explained that. Apivar is call it an acaricide. It's a pesticide. It's meant to eradicate varroa mites. Varroa mites are a blight on honeybees. It's a species that made its way to North America from China. Discovered in North America in 1987, and it's been a blight on North American beekeeping ever since. And the Australians say that they don't have varroa mites.
But I think it's only them and the Antarcticans who don't. Of course, there's no honeybees in Antarctica. Just saying. It's pretty rare.
It is a wretchedly cold day out today. It's -3 or so, which isn't really that cold for a Canadian, but it's northwest wind. Holy smokes. I had to actually put a jacket on. I almost got my gloves out. So today I'm playing indoor games. I went and got my electric fence controller here. See, that's that PVX 200. And I put up a couple of years ago. I really like it. It works really well. One of the really goofy things about this, you can't turn it off. There's no switch. There's nothing on it. There's no switch or anything on it. So I had to put on a separate knife switch on the fence to turn the fence off when I want to go through. Well, if I want to go through the easy way, then I turn the fence off. Which in one way is good because I can see at a distance that that knife switch is open, okay? Which you might not be able to see. A switch is on or off on the controller. So, I mean, everything has a silver lining. So that says made in New Zealand. I knew that they were either Australia or New Zealand from their website. And that's the only one in referencing their site. They have kind of a neat thing. You should look them up. And they'll have, boy, they sure have a lot of different models. Lots of different models. They have solar units, all built in with the battery and the solar panel. They have 110 volt units, and they have 110 volt and 12 volt units, and they have 12 volt units, and all different sizes in all of those different configurations. And so they list them all, and they have little silhouettes of little animals. So they have chickens, down at the bottom, and then it goes up dogs and deer and cows and stuff. And there's not very many have bears on them, but I did see one of their graphics that did put a picture of a bear, and this was the one that had a picture of the bear, so that's what I bought. So my problem here is, look at these connectors. These are just ready to snap right off. Look at that. It's all rusted. It's actually been sitting outdoors. Sheltered a little bit, but not much. So that's for the controller. This is for the charge controller, the charge limiter. It makes sure that the solar panel doesn't overcharge the battery. I've got some nice little eyes here. I have nice little eyes. These nice little eyes to put on the wires. So I'm going to cut these awful things off of there, and then wire these up on there, and that'll fix my connection problem. First things first, snip. Those are gone. Those are gone. Those are history. The Patriot hooked up here, and there it goes. Click, click, click. Well, there's my controller mounted again. That's that knife switch I was talking about. It's the only way to turn it on and off. So that's fence energized, that's fence not energized. The controller never shuts off unless you unhook the battery. But I have a problem. I've connected my battery, and I've got my little charge controller there, which is good. My solar panel fell over. My own fault, I just leaned it up there. And the problem is, it's froze to the ground. And I'm afraid if I pry on it, I'll break it. So therefore, I don't want to hook up the controller and kill the battery. I don't know how much it would use in a day, and I don't even know if it's going to be warm enough for that to thaw out tomorrow. So I'll leave it as is. Hopefully that bear doesn't wake up quite yet. And hopefully if he is woke up, he's got other business besides my apiary. You see my camper there. Got this old camper from a neighbor. Makes a great apiary building. I've got equipment in there, somewhere to get away from the bees and have a drink of water and, store things in there out of the wind and the rain. Well, I went in there today looking for something, and I went up to the front and opened one of, how a camper is. It has overhead compartments everywhere. Well, I opened this overhead compartment in the front, and I gave something a yank in there, and a squirrel come flying out, and he bounced right off me. Scared the crap out of me. I imagine
no more than I scared the crap out of him. So there's a squirrel living in my camper, not that I really care. I believe that if I had not worked today, my bees might have got hungry and some might have starved. And there was a couple examples today that I saw that reinforced that fear. Swapped in some honey frames, syrup frames really, from last fall, out of the Deadouts from this spring. And some of those, there were a couple of those colonies, not a lot, but there were a few who really needed it. And the ones that really needed it are the really good ones. The big colonies are eating a lot. They're eating a lot because they're brooding. I can't believe it was the 10th of April. And I'm seeing some brood nests out there bigger than a softball. I counted frames. In one of the big ones, I hit 6 frames with brood. Not covered in brood, but a brood nest that spans 6 frames. Everything's compromised. That's something I'm learning in beekeeping. You know, people ask you, what's the best way to do this? Or what's the best piece of, you know, the best kind of hive, the best kind of feeder? There's no good answer to that. And the answer is the piece of equipment or the method that you can put up with. Because every piece of equipment, every method has a downside, has a compromise to it. And you need to choose the one that has the compromise that you can live with. Dribbled all down my chin. I have a drinking problem. The girls are going through the patty fast. I had to add patty to some of the bigger ones. Some of them you open it up, you know, most of them you open it up and, oh, the patty's half gone or mostly gone or not gone at all. It's really, you know, you look at that patty and you don't even have to look at the brood nest to see what's going on. You look at that patty and if they haven't touched it, they're not brooding. You look at the patty and if it's gone, you got a real fireball on your hands. The queen has got her mojo on and the nurse bees are keeping up with her. So some of them had no patty at all, except maybe a little piece of paper that confirmed that you actually had a patty on there at one point. So I added some patty to some of those. We found a few minutes of warm weather here on Good Friday and thought we would feed the bees. We've got some feed frames here. Carol's going through them.
Nice.
Yeah, we've got some really nice ones. And she's gonna ferry them over to me while I go through the colonies over here. So I'm gonna go through a few of these. I just want to make sure the big ones don't starve. It's not going to be real warm for the next while. So that's what we're doing here today. I got a bee in my bonnet. I'm serious.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she's right here somewhere.
Oh, no, what is this?
I know. I don't know if you should undo it. Do it back up.
Really?
I'll take my chances with one. She's on my ear.
I could hit you in the head.
Yeah, don't hit me in the head. Take my chances with the
They're
insect.
gonna get me. I'm leaving.
No, they're crawling up my suit. My elastic is no good in my suit. Whoa,
Okay. No, I know.
that's got a Q on it.
You
Oh.
are going to need a few of these.
I'm gonna need some swarm control.
Okay. Yeah.
And patty. Look at the patty. They got no patty at all. You know what that means? That means there's brood in here. Got one here. I'll put another one like that on it. Wow, that's nice, eh? I don't think it was in there all winter. Yeah. Living like a king. Hey. But see, the thing is, these outside ones still have feed in them. So, and that's brood. You can see that, and there's brood here. There's feed in here still. Boy, this is a good colony. For me, anyway. Maybe not for some other people. But I got nothing to do here. They are doing just fine. They've got lots of feed. And they just need patties. And just some kind words. You just go to it, girl. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. That's my queen, my breeder queen. Got my cue right there. Oh, gray geese. Big, eh? Much bigger than a Canada goose. Been pretty well behaved. Nice. Wow.
You should be putting another bleaching girl.
Yeah, we'll soon. Going down. I should put wax in my smoker. It smells really nice. Wow. That's the third frame in and it's just covered with bees. Smoking. Do not see any laying in there. Pack it down. Where's our brood nest now, I want to know. Oh, look at the yellow queen here.
Oh, wow. She ever stand out. Neon yellow. Oh. Yeah, he's really mad.
Yeah. But I don't see any laying. Oh, there's little larvae in there. Okay, we'll stop messing.
Little feed?
Um,
Right here.
I don't know. They get enamored with the brood and I forget why I'm here. You know, I think they're good. Oddly enough. That's good.
Alright.
I think they're good. Is this the one the queen was on? No.
Yeah, she's down here.
Is she there?
Down the corner.
Oh dear. That's a bad place. See, this is, I don't know. That's risky.
Yeah.
Put that frame in like that. Now I gotta put this one in next to her. Ah. Okay. No, I didn't take any patties out of here, did I? I need a couple. For sure. That'll do. This is a good one. I know, just covered.
I'm playing mad scientist today. I ran low on UltraBee for my colonies. My bee supply place ran out. So I'm going to go to plan B. Get it? Plan B. I've had this bag of Alltech bee pollinate. And this is just mixed with 1-to-1 by weight with the syrup. So I've got some syrup out of my tank outside and I've got this blue bin here and we'll just dump it in there and we'll mix it up. I got my big mud mixer here. Give it a good stir. Then we'll pour it into another tub that's lined with some plastic and we'll let it set up. We'll get to mixing here and we'll bring you along for the ride and show you how we're doing this. I don't know if this is how you're supposed to do it, but this is how I'm doing it. You'll see how it works out. So not only is my lovely wife helping me make patty, which she actually enjoys this kind of thing,
Yeah.
is she's gonna go and make me a Easter turkey dinner when we're done. I know all you guys out there cursing yourself that I got to marry her and you didn't, but that's your problem, to be honest.
Yeah, but you cook too.
Well,
So I looked
sometimes.
out that way, boy.
Usually only breakfast though.
Yeah.
Or I cook for myself when you don't feel like
That's
it.
your specialty though. You do meatloaf
I do meatloaf,
and chili.
chili. I make the best apple pie in the land.
Oh yeah. Ooh. Put honey in it.
Honey. If we have time and patience, I'd like to do all of this today.
Yeah.
And it's out of the way and we don't have to get messy again.
I don't want to keep cold and
I will put it in the freezer.
Oh, need more turds.
Need more turds. $1 for every time I heard that.
You'd have $1.
I'd have $1. Gingerbread. It looks like
Dark
gingerbread.
gingerbread.
That's what it looks like. For the viewers at home, it doesn't smell anything like gingerbread.
Nope.
It smells like a brewery.
Is it?
Yeah. Smells like you've been making beer. Should have Jason knocking at the door soon. What do I smell? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Those 2 boxes are 193 pounds. So the weight of the boxes and the little packing bags, etc., you know, got 190 pounds of feed here. I'm definitely going to have to freeze that. There's no way I'm using that this year. I won't likely use half of that. But I have feed for a while now. I just have to keep it froze. Now I have to go and feed some. And I want to put some sugar cakes. So we need to do that.
These are the new feeding shims I made this year. And I'll get to use them today. They look good. These wraps are a little bit of a management concern. They have to be tight, but okay. All right. And they're taking the patty nicely. I think I'll put the sugar cake on and the patty on top of it. This is a nice big shim, so there's lots of space for both. And down we go. If you missed the video on these shims, really what this is it's the cutoff of a deep, making a deep a medium wanted a bunch of mediums, so I bought a bunch of deeps, cut them off in table saw. So now I have these nice shims. A little over 2 inches, I think. Almost 3, I think. But what I wanted to show you was this screw here, and there's one like it over here. And that gives me a little grip on the box. When I place that on the box, it doesn't slide around. So that's why there's a top and a bottom to these shims. And I want to put them on the right way. And push them down in there. Okay, ladies, here's your sugar cake and your patty. And I'll button you up. Now I'm doing these cakes because some of these colonies are in pretty good shape and I don't want them to starve. But it's too cold to spend time going through the hive and deciding if it needs feed frames. Taking frames out, putting frames in. When you put a frame in, that frame is cold and the bees have to warm it up. Well, there's another cold and windy day out there today. We just can't catch a break. Because I run singles, they're always very low to the ground. The box sits about 6 inches from the ground, and that's a long way down. So I got to thinking, and I know I overthink just about everything, but I got to thinking, wouldn't it be nice if these boxes, these hives were up off the ground another 6 inches or so? Why don't I build myself a hive stand? More expense, more complexity, more work. But I decided, why not make a couple prototypes, throw them in the apiary this summer. If I love them, then maybe I'll investigate putting the money out for equipment to build hive stands for next year, or maybe build a couple every year. And I've completed one of the prototypes here, and it actually looks pretty good. I'm really anxious to use it. So here's the explanation as to what's going on here. Ignore the pallets that these are sitting on. So this is the hive stand. Okay. So here's what we have. I've got runners on the bottom. I've got 3 runners on the bottom, one on each end and one in the middle here. 2x6 risers as stated, 33.5 inches wide and 60 inches long. So that's 5 feet. That the runners on my pallets are spaced back from the front and back. So that pallet will sit right down in here. And then the other pallet sits at the other end, of course. So this is how they're going to sit. And that is 16 7/8 between. Here are the hive stands. They were fairly easy to set up. That gives me at least 6 inches more height on those hives. So you can see the unstanded hives here, pretty low. So I just made 4 of these stands. I'll run them this summer, we'll see what happens. And these bees are all over me. She just stung me in the forehead. Little bag. Oh boy. Why? I'm minding my own business. Own business, and she stings me in the forehead. You're a farmer if you own fencing pliers, eh? They're almost going up my nose. What I need to know today is just how they're getting along on feed stores, how they're getting along on the patties, and maybe I'm going to have to add some feed frames, maybe some sugar cakes, keep them going. I didn't buy a lot of syrup this year. I'm kind of questioning my wisdom there. I only bought about 2 liters per hive, and they've taken most of that. They've taken almost all of it. There's not much left. So I don't know if maybe I should have bought more. the pollen feeder over there is not abandoned, but it's kind of quiet. I think they found some early pollen here in the poplars and the willows. These hives are going to be turning around here right away, because we're having, by my math at least, we should be having emergence now, and as we go further, we should be having a buildup. And some of these colonies look really good. So we'll try and show you some stuff that's interesting here today. Thanks for watching. This is a nice little nuke that overwintered. They seem to be doing good. It's always nice to see when they eat the patty. You know, other than the obvious, that really does indicate that they're brooding. They don't store this stuff, so they're feeding it to the young'uns. I've got my Apivar strip in here, and I just want to see that they have feed stores here. I'm really going to try to be not very intrusive. This outside frame should give me some indication. I can feel it's heavy, so that tells me right there they're fine. They are working on it. So I see that they've got some syrup here in it, some fresh syrup. So that's been brought in recently into the comb. I see some pollen pants here, not very good load, but I see it there. So that's good. I don't know if that's the supplement or natural pollen though. I checked a few entrances, I don't see a lot of pollen pants going in. I'm gonna get another patty for these ladies. And then we'll leave them alone. This is my first time working my hives that are on these new stands. I have a box to sit on here, but I'm going to try this standing up. It's just to see how it feels. So far it feels great. So here again, we have good patty consumption. So we'll get another patty on here. I'll smoke them a little bit. My 4s I've marked with a Q, indicating I might want to use these as queen breeders, just because they're strong. They seem to be doing well. Now you look at the black one, green dot. One on the camera. So there's the queen. I want to put her in there right up against another frame. Now I've got the queen encapsulated between these two frames. Okay, she's in the middle there. And she is right now. She might not be for long. Okay, mama. As I can see the queen in the picture. So this is a 19. So she'll be green. paint on her as I can because they do rub it off over time. Let her sit. Okay, what do you think? Is she ready? Just tap it so she falls down. And then tip it over. Undo the door. So they fly. I hate it when they fly. I have to keep smoking the microphone. They seem to take exception to it. They either love it or they hate it. I think they hate it because they get in there and they double over like they're trying to sting it. I sure love the hive stands. Just that extra 6 inches up, boy, that makes all the difference in the world.